Don't buy masks for yourself if you don't need them. And the CDC has been firm on this. Most people, ones that are healthy and not sick, do not need a mask at this time. There is way too much hype and misinformation surrounding this novel coronavirus, and I want to talk about it. I want you to know that all the information I'm about to present to you here comes directly from the CDC or the WHO or the Department of Health. These are your main sources of information. Please don't think that if you read someone's tweet and it has been retweeted a lot, it's an accurate source of information. It is not. The date today is February 18th, 2020. I need you to know that because all the information I'm about to give you is relevant up until this date. Things change really quickly, especially when it comes to new viruses like this. Let's kick it off by talking about the new name of the novel coronavirus, COVID-19. CO from corona, VI from virus, D for disease, 19, because it actually started in December 2019. There's been a lot of talk about the lethality or death rate when it comes to the COVID-19 virus. Let's talk about what that means. When someone becomes ill with any virus, there's a specific rate of those who have a mild illness, moderate to severe, or a critical one leading to death. When we look at the numbers currently for this COVID-19 virus, what we see is that 81%, which is by far the huge majority, are mild cases. 14% are moderate to severe, meaning that the patient will get a bacterial infection on top of it, a pneumonia, so on. And then 5% are critical cases, where those people can need respiratory support or even lead to death. Now, one of the most deadly infections out there is Ebola. That is a 50%, about a 50%, because we've seen variations in this, 50% death rate. Then MERS, which is the outbreak that happened in 2012, 30%. SARS, 10%. For this virus, we're seeing around 2% fatality rate. And I wouldn't be surprised if that number goes down as we find more mild cases that we haven't diagnosed yet. Also, to put in perspective, the traditional influenza virus that we see here in the US, the seasonal flu, is 0.1 to 0.2% lethality rate. Here's 5 new updates on the COVID-19 virus that I think you should know. Number 1. Packages. There's many people that have a fear, and rightfully so, of opening packages that have come from China and the worry that they may be infected with the COVID-19 virus. In looking at the testimony from experts from the NIH, CDC, WHO, it looks like our suspicion at the moment is that the virus only survives on surfaces for a few hours, much like the SARS and MERS viruses did as well. They are close cousins of COVID-19. That being said, if you're handling any packages from China, you should be washing your hands right afterwards just to be safe. 2. Let's talk treatments. Since this is a virus and we currently have no treatments other than supportive care, like giving people fluids, making sure that they have respiratory support, or if they get a bacterial infection on top, we can give antibiotics. Right now, there are 80 trials trying to figure out which antiviral or antiretroviral therapies would work on COVID-19. In fact, there's a new study that just kicked off in Japan using HIV medications on the virus to see if that works. Look, the huge majority of these are going to fail, but if we find promise even in some of these, that's going to make a big difference in the long run. 3, vaccines. Since you know I'm a big fan of vaccines, and you should be as well, especially the flu vaccine, WHO recently went on record and said the COVID-19 vaccine is in the works and can potentially be completed 18 months from now. I know that sounds like a long ways away, but if the situation is to continue to worsen, it's good to know that we have hope from a vaccine on the horizon. In fact, we have some vaccines available now, but they're just going into the beginning trials now. We want to make sure they're safe. So we do tests on vaccines to make sure they're safe before we give them to the general public. 4. There is a ton of misinformation spreading across the web about the origins of the COVID-19 virus. There's even US senators that are trying to say that there's a potential for bioterrorism here. There is no evidence of this. And all that is doing is creating more panic and fear-mongering. We should only take evidence that we have now and use that to guide our further research. Do not put wild, unsubstantiated conspiracy theories out there because it just confuses us and really gives more ammunition to trolls on social media to create grabbing headlines and visuals to really misguide the general public. The current prevailing theory is still the one from my first video, that this virus began in animals and jumped to a human source. Whether that happened in the Wuhan market, whether it happened in a Wuhan lab, It doesn't even matter if it was a bat, a pangolin. It doesn't matter which animal we're talking about. That's still the prevailing theory, and until it's disproved, there's no need to start thinking conspiracy theories. 5. Don't believe in self-treatment. If you think that you may have the COVID-19 virus, contact a health professional immediately. The WHO just released a mega warning about this. There's things popping up on Instagram about vitamin C mega doses, herbal preparations, even smoking as a recommendation for this. There is no proof that any of this works, and in fact, it can put your life further in danger. Please contact a health professional if you think you may have been exposed to this and are experiencing symptoms. And also, I want to note that there's becoming a shortage of masks, both regular surgical masks and specialized N95 masks, because it seems like everyone is ordering them. Leave the equipment to professionals, people who truly need it. In fact, there's been 1,700 medical workers who've been infected by the COVID-19 virus. They're already facing significant risk. Do not make the problem worse by having them treat patients without proper protection. Don't buy masks for yourself if you don't need them. I want you to keep this phrase in your head: alert, but not anxious. This Wuhan virus or novel coronavirus is really a potential threat to us here in the United States and is not a crisis yet by any means. So again, alert, not anxious.